India launched its first mission for space docking. I think this is a great achievement not only for India but all the space enthusiastic. Yes, India has become the fourth country in the world who have done space docking. Actually, the other three countries have been United States, Russia and China. Japan has also done something similar and European Union, but I will explain it a little bit more in the later part of my video. So, first of all, I am sure you heard about NASA, Roscosmos and also ISRO now, which is India's space organization. What do you think about when you hear about space? Does it excite you or it scares you? I am sure when we hear about space, what comes in mind is what we have seen in Hollywood movies about aliens. Have you ever wondered about, is there another life out there in another planet? Or are you curious what is out in the space? What is this galaxy made up of? I'll let you think about all these things, but let's see first of all what is space docking. Actually, I am sure you have heard about docking. So usually you hear it when you think about ships. Ships are usually docked at the port. But when we talk about space, what it is all about. So basically, when we talk about space, we are talking about, satellites or, any space missions which cover thousands of kilometers when they go out to find out something. And in that situation, they need to fuel up, they need different kind of resources which can accomplish that thousands of miles of journey. And, sometimes to make it easier, what happens is we create a space station where basically they stop, they refuel, they do different kind of things. It helps them to do these missions much more better and easier, and that's where the docking comes into picture. But what exactly is space docking is basically talking about two separate free flying space vehicles when they come together and join with each other. So basically these are two different space vehicles. They are flying somewhere in the orbit, in simple words, and they need to come together, join, so that they can help each other. So one may be having fuel and one may be having some other scientific equipment, and basically it can be that one is helping the other by joining itself, either to move the astronauts or to refuel or to service or any other thing. So let's see what are the benefits of space docking. There are multiple benefits. I'm talking about some of them which I think would help you to understand more about space docking. So first of all, basically, as I mentioned, it helps in servicing and refueling, because we are talking about thousands of kilometers when all these space aircraft go and do different kind of research and scientific discoveries, and for that they need to be serviced, and it is not possible to bring them back to Earth and then send them again. And in that situation, space docking at an international space station or at a space station will help them and make it easier for them to service and refueling. The other thing is operations. You think about many other things. There would be some technical glitch or there could be some other reason it is not possible to bring them back to Earth, to a station, and then send them again, because it would be wastage of time and a lot of resources. So that's where again docking would help them, and basically something called autonomous space docking comes into picture, which can do these kind of repairs, operations, assistance without any human intervention automatically in a very efficient AI based manner. The other could be, think about debris. There is lots of debris because there are lots of satellites which have been sent to the space now or in the past and in the future. And what have you ever wondered what happens with that satellites or aircraft when they are not functioning? They are out in the space, and there is some kind of pollution or there is some kind of wastage out there in the space, and it is making the environment polluting. So we need to clean that, and if we have this kind of docking, it is easier to clean that particular thing. The other thing is about space colonization. Yes, that is something, you heard it right. It may not sounds very practical as of today, but in the future it would happen. We have seen companies coming by, many United States companies who are offering you to go to space as a tour, as a tourist. So in that situation, because of that docking facility, sorry, it would be much more easier and possible. So these are some of the benefits of space docking. Now there are two basically techniques which I would like to mention here, and they are very similar, but definitely docking or autonomous docking is much more useful and much more excuse me, is much more efficient and practical. So let's see. Actually, when I mentioned at the beginning of my video that Japan is also one of the countries who have done docking in the past, but they actually used another technique which is called robotic arm assisted docking. So imagine like a basically station where there is an arm which is robotic arm which pulls any equipment or aircraft or any satellite, to brings it closer to the station, and it do all the things which I have just mentioned as compared to doing it with another vehicle. So I think you can see the difference here. Basically the complexity in autonomous docking is much more higher because it is all without human intervention, where a robotic arm, you are sitting somewhere in the earth in some station or at some place, and you are doing all the things through, you have an arm which is basically controlled by you and you are doing it. The other thing is reliability. So basically autonomous docking is reliable completely on software, whereas robotic arm has some hardware, because it's like a robotic arm which basically you are controlling sitting somewhere. So it has some hardware and some software both including. So basically in terms of the usage, I think I will say autonomous docking has high frequency docking, whereas robotic arm is mainly for payload handling and other versatile tasks. So doesn't really matter, but definitely when we look at space docking, it has become very, very important for future upcoming projects, because it will help to get some kind of a short break. Imagine you are doing a journey from Las Vegas to New York, or from some part in Europe, from Germany to Finland. You would like to take a break, your car might need to refuel and you might need to get a toilet break or something. So similarly, docking is basically where it will help you to take that break, to make sure you refresh and you can make sure that everything can be done without bringing or coming back to the earth. The other thing about India's actually first space docking mission. Now, why it is so important and why it has taken so many years for India to do it. First of all, one of the things you have to keep in mind that when we look at United States, when we look at Russia, when we look at China, they have a lot of money and they have much more experience, because they have started all these things when it comes to space long before, and they have been much more innovative, and they have done a lot of resources and they have got a lot of funding by the government, whereas India have recently started much more funding into the space research. And secondly, the idea when India looks at any of such missions, cost effective way is another important reason. So that is why if you look at this particular mission as well, the amount of money which India has spent has been very less as compared to the previous missions done by other countries. So that is why this particular mission is very important. Sorry. The other is the timing. Because as I mentioned, space exploration has become more and more important in the recent times because of technology, because of awareness, and because of curiosity we have towards the outside world. So I think this is a good timing where, as I mentioned, it is a great achievement not only for India but for whole world and all the space enthusiasts, because it will help everyone to do things better and in a much easier way. Sorry. Now let's look at how India has done it. So they have used PSLV C-60 satellite aircraft to do this. Basically there are two different let's say aircraft in this, who are each weighing 220 kilogram. So one is called Target and the second is called Chaser, and they're gonna be outside freely roaming around in the space. and on 7th of January they will try to dock to each other, and that's when we will know how the docking have been done, whether it was successful or not. Hopefully it would be successful, but basically they would be maneuvering around in the space and they would be trying to dock. They will do some research and then they will undock and they will do docking again. So that is the whole idea behind this particular mission. So currently it's at 470 kilometer circular orbit where it has been done, and this test was conducted at Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota in India. Now, some of the important dates, as I mentioned, it was just done on 30th of December 2024 at ISRO site, and on 7th of January 2025 actual docking would happen. That's when we will know further about it. So this is the team which you can see. They have been all very esteemed scientists, and they are very happy to do this particular launch, and hopefully it would be successful. Now, other thing I would like to mention, why this space docking has been done. It's also because of India's ambitious plans for the future, specifically in terms of the space research, and there are few other projects which they are planning to launch. One of them is Bharatiya Antariksh Station, which is by 2030, which is also called as BAS 2030. They are also planning to do a potential lunar sample return mission by 2027. They have Chandrayaan, Gaganyaan, and some other missions planned. So I think this is the right time. Before we discuss further, I would like to mention, I have just said Bharatiya Antariksh Station. So what does it mean? Basically, it's something similar to International Space Station, which is called ISS. So I think it is very important for you to know that, currently how the docking is done, because we need an actual basically station where this docking happens, or especially in terms of the robotic arm, there needs to be a place where this happens, and currently this is called ISS. It is mainly used for orbital, like a space exploration platform or a laboratory, and it was constructed in 1998 and fully assembled by 2011. Currently, it has been done collaboratively. There is no one specific country who owns it or who has a control on it. It has been collectively done by NASA from US, Roscosmos from Russia, ESA, which is a European Space Agency in Europe, JAXA in Japan, and CSA in Canada. It can accommodate about 6 to 7 astronauts at a time. And most important point is that by 2030, there is uncertainty whether ISS would be continued or it would be decommissioned, and their kind of thoughts about that. And probably that's why India is planning to launch BAS in 2030, because it is not clear that how the next steps would look like. But I think that's what I wanted to tell today, but I also want to leave you with some questions that what is the future of space exploration? Because I am sure, these all missions are making us curious to know that what is the future. Second is who will lead the way. I personally feel there is some kind of a battle or a race between countries to conquer or to reach to space and find out more and more about it. So far we have seen United States, Russia, China, Europe, Japan, and India in this at the forefront, but there are other countries who are planning to do similar kind of missions in the future. And finally, is there a life out there? What are we trying to find and discover? So I think these are really important questions for us to ask and to think about. And that's where I would like to thank all of you. But please remember, I'm an expert in this area when it comes to technology, when it comes to communication system, satellite systems. If you or your organization is looking for expert consulting advice, I am more than happy to provide you any expert advice. I do it professionally, and I have been working in technology for 20 plus years, and I am more than happy to make this world a better place to live for everyone. And I would like to see how technology, how communication systems, how satellites, and how future technologies will bring new inventions and innovations to mankind. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care and stay well. I have dropped my email ID if you want to reach out to me. Have a good day. Bye-bye.